Right, now let's see. That plugs in there. And this plugs in. Right, and then that. Oh! Look, it's there. Okay, right, okay, let's have a go. Let's have a test. Hello, Mum. Hello, Mum. Little Lesley calling Mum. Nanu. Fibre, she said, and plenty of it. I said, don't talk to me about constipation. My mum invented it. And then I went on to say how I'd noticed you were swelling up around this region, and that you had told me it was constipation. 7 months worth of it. She said, you're full of shit. I said, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about my mum. So I said how Dad had gone away when I was 7, and that I'd always been led to believe that he'd been run over by a train in Milton Keynes. But that illusion had just been shattered when you had revealed to me that he hadn't actually been killed by a train in Milton Keynes, and that was just a story to protect the fact that he's actually a Time Lord from another dimension. Not dissimilar to Doctor who had travelled to our space in time in a last-ditch attempt to save humanity from the evil clutches of the Daleks. I told how, because he's from another dimension and didn't know anyone from this dimension, you had allowed him to live with you, pretending you were married to protect his cover, and how his mission was to bring forth to this dimension a time-travelling infant, the Chosen One, a futuristic star child better equipped than humans to do battle with these evil beings. I told how he had also brought with him a mighty weapon known as Solingen the Strong, weapon of the Chosen One. After that he was recalled to his own dimension to help with their battle with the Mysterons, who were troubling them at that stage. And you had continued to care for the Chosen One until he too was old enough to have the whole thing explained to him and be put out onto the street to start his quest to find Numcha the Knowledgeable, the constant being, whose job it is to train the Chosen One and lead him to the final destination. Well, that time has now come. I am the Chosen One, and this is Solingen the Strong, weapon of the Chosen One. She got off the bus at the next stop, and I think she must have had a word with the conductor, because he came up to me and said that if I spoke to anyone else, he would eject me from the bus. I managed to stay on the bus until it got to the address that you'd given me. But the funny thing was that the people there hadn't heard of Numcha the Knowledgeable, the constant being. So I phoned home just to check with you that I was in the right place. And some stranger answered the phone. He said that he'd moved in that morning. That the woman that had lived there before, that's you, had moved out and bought a place with her boyfriend. Well, you don't have a boyfriend. I think you would have introduced us if you had. And then the stranger said he thought you'd probably move to a bigger place because it looked as if you were going to have a baby. So I had to explain to him that you weren't going to have a baby and that you just resembled that fact because you hadn't had a crap for 7 months. And then it suddenly occurred to me why you would have moved. I mean, when the mighty battle of the Daleks begins, you're not going to want Davros turning up on your doorstep going, "Did you raise the Chosen One?" I think even you'd shit yourself that day. So I went back to the address you'd given me, and although they hadn't heard of Numcha the Knowledgeable, the constant being, they are a school. St. Ursula's School for the Unwanted. So I've enrolled. They didn't actually have a bedroom for me as such, so they've let me sleep in the school's props cupboard, which is actually quite exciting because all the props are still in here. And I've also come up with this idea of leaving these messages on the World Wide Web for you to find. A little bit like how Captain Kirk or Jean-Luc Picard might send a message out into space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Little Lesley. His continuing mission to search out you, Mum! My thinking is that if I lay low for a while and bide my time, then Numcha the Knowledgeable, the constant being, might come and find me. And someone's coming. Well, that was Quim, a foreign boy. Just came to tell me what lessons I've got tomorrow, and you are not going to believe that Well, actually, you probably are going to believe this, as I expect that's why you've sent me here. But I've got drama tomorrow, which is going to be taken by the games teacher, because the drama teacher's off having a baby. Must be something in the water, eh? Wink, wink. Drama's going to be taken by the games teacher, and the games teacher's name is Miss Dalek. I expect she must be the leader of this cybernetic race. Right, I'd better prepare. Let the drama commence. I've just been having a look in the bag you packed for me to see if you put any extra weapons in, and I got a bit of a shock, because you hadn't put any extra weapons in. In fact, you hadn't put any weapons in at all. In fact, you hadn't even put any of my clothes in it. It was just full. And I mean full of rubbish. But the really funny thing is that explains why I saw you going down to the bin with an armful of my clothes before I left. You must have got my bag and the bin mixed up. Funny, 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 funny. So all I have are the clothes I stand up in, and Solingen the Strong, which at the end of the day is all I need. But then, you knew that. I'll let you know how it goes. Right, well, that didn't go very well. At all. I barged into the room, brandishing Solingen the Strong, and screamed, "Miss Dalek, you wheeled freak! Prepare to meet your nemesis!" But it turns out that her name isn't Miss Dalek at all. His name is Mr. Lek. It's all Quim's fault with this stupid bloody accent. What's more, since a rugby accident last season, Mr. Lek has been in a wheelchair. Needless to say, he didn't much appreciate being called a wheeled freak. Tomorrow I have a games lesson with him. And, like I said, you didn't pack my games kit. Well, you didn't pack anything. And I don't need to tell you that because of my allergic reaction to elastic waistbands, I've always gone commando. And as there is a universal rule for what to wear when you don't have your games kit, please, if you get this message, please, at least send me some pants.